everyone. Hi there, it's Sandy Peckinpah. Welcome replay viewers, and any moment we're going to have those live viewers popping on. I'm so glad that you're here. Sally, I knew I could count on you. You're the first one on today. Welcome. Bob, welcome. Hi there. So glad you're here. You know, I love this new thing that Periscope is doing, that now the camera starts facing forward instead of facing away. So now it doesn't matter how my office looks. It can look terrible and I can face forward and the camera begins. Adam, welcome. Jessica, welcome. So glad that you're all joining me. Nissan, welcome. We have a really good subject tonight, and I'm very excited to start talking with you about it because it's something that I questioned myself in 2009. I call this creating lasting impact, just being who you are. Oh, Sally says she needs a boost to her morale, my dear. Well, I'm sending you lots of love. And Christy, well, guess what? I am starting with Christy tonight. She is having her very first Emerging Writer Mastermind with me at 6 o'clock tonight. And luckily, Christy lives close to me, so we're going to do it in person at my home. But if you are not in this town in Southern California, where I live, we also do the mastermind online on Zoom or Skype or whatever you prefer. It works great. You still get all the tools, the techniques, everything. Oh, good. My sister's here. Hey, Sue. So, yes, Christy, she says you get so much out of the mastermind course. Oh, well, Sally is a graduate, and because of the mastermind course, Sally has a book at the publisher. It's being edited right now. And, you know, for those of you who don't know me, I passionately love helping you wake up your creative life. I love helping you recognize that your stories have meaning and purpose and value, and that your stories, when shared with others, can change lives. And it's absolutely true. Dang brave girl, Jamie's here. Welcome. Hey, Judy. So glad to see you. We have all of our regular people on today. You know, I took that map feature off so that we would get rid of some of the troll element. And I like it a lot, much better with just, you know, the people who really want to be here. That's what I want. I want the people that really hear the message, want to contribute to the message, because I value your feedback hopefully as much as you value my feedback, my words of inspiration. You inspire me, and that is the truth. So let's dive into this, creating lasting impact, just being who you are. And I'm going to tell you how it all sort of woke up for me, okay? So I want to start by, you know, I'm writing my 5th book. For those of you who don't know me, I've written 4 books. I'm really proud of each one of those books. In fact, they're right here, and I'm just going to show you. I've written 2 fiction books. And 2 of my books have been award-winning books, which I'm very proud of. This one, Rosie the Imperfect Angel, I wrote for my daughter. And she was born with a birth defect. And what I learned in the process is that the words that you write can change the course of a little girl's life. Not only that, but when shared, it can change other people's lives too, because I've told you this story before. And for those of you who haven't heard it, where's Cynthia? She's heard it a million times, and she's always so patient about hearing it. But 20 years later, after I wrote this book, I got a call from a former child in one of the schools where I read the book. And he said it changed his life. And he said that he had always wanted to do something with it. He is now a Tony Award-winning, Emmy Award-winning producer. He has the show, what is that? Paris something on Broadway. He called me and asked me if he could record Rosie as a CD. He had the Moscow Symphony Orchestra play the music that he wrote, and it became a spoken word CD that made it all the way to the Grammy ballot in 2009. So I can tell you that my little story that I thought I was telling for my daughter to enter into the world of school, because that's where kids get teased, that's where life starts, that's where your self-esteem gets chipped away at. My little story turned into something that I never dreamed possible. It affected lives. He said, Sandy, I never forgot it. It made me feel better about myself. So you see, if you question something that you do, can it have a lasting impact? Absolutely. And that's why we're talking today. And it doesn't have to just be about writing. You know, Jamie, dang brave girl on here, she makes incredible jewelry. Do you think that that jewelry makes a woman feel really special when she wears it? You bet. Those are the kind of things that can have lasting impact on people's lives. You may not know it, but you may have an impact on one life or many. We don't know until it happens. Effiano, welcome. So glad you're here. It's true, Jamie. And if you're not following Jamie, please follow Jamie. So yeah, I wrote these two books, and they are fairy tales for children. And I had no idea they would have lasting impact. Yes, Sally, you need to come back and watch the rest of this broadcast, honey. Then I wrote this book, Passion by Design. And it was all about waking up your love life, you know, waking up through the design of your home and your feelings about color and the art you choose. I wrote that book with a friend, and she's a designer. And she said, you know, I have this feeling that whenever I go into a home to design, you know, to create a room, pick out furniture and all that, she said, I often wonder if the master bedroom reflects the state of the marriage. And what she said was that more times than not, it actually did. And once she went into the home and started creating a romantic bedroom and all of the things around it, then their life woke up, their marriage woke up. Sally asked if it won as many awards as my fourth book. And this book, boy, this book I'm so proud of. It's won 9 awards, including the Reader's Favorite Award for Silver Award for 2014 and 2015. No, Rosie didn't win as many awards, but I was on so many television shows. I got 2 awards with Rosie, and a lot of recognition. I put that book out there, and suddenly the media just went nuts. I was on NBC News. I was on the Today Show. I was on the Good Day LA. Not Good Day LA. It was not the morning show, but the afternoon LA show. I was on Fox News. In the LA Times. I mean, it was just like one of those things that sort of caught fire. Yeah, I know, it was amazing. It was because it touched a chord. My first book was about the beauty of imperfection. My daughter was born with the most imperfect face that could be born. And yet, there was such beauty in it. And as she evolved through the surgeries and herself emotionally, she became this remarkable woman. Remarkable. Okay, honey. See you later, Sally. She became this remarkable woman. And I like to think it's because, as her mother, I knew that I was the architect of her world at that time. You know, once they hit their preteens, it's the peer group. But before then, it's the structure of the family. And I like to think that I was able to help her go into school with a stronger self-esteem because I taught her that words have power. Stories have power. She became a little superhero in her kindergarten class. I can tell you that when I first read the book in her kindergarten class, I actually had one little girl raise her hand and said, "I wish I had been born with a birth defect." Kids are so funny. So yeah, I mean, you don't know what it is about you necessarily, but that's what we're going to be talking about today. Yeah, isn't that funny, Jessica? So, did you once believe that your thoughts were impossible? When you were little, did you think that everything was impossible? No. When you're little, all is possible. You say you're going to be a superhero, and you're a superhero in your mind. You say you're going to be a ballerina, and you're a ballerina in your mind. You say you're going to be president of the United States, God forbid. You're going to be president of the United States. When you are little, all is possible. I can tell you, my sister's on this broadcast. We used to play with our dolls and create these stories, these fabulous stories of people that we would become, who we were. We would infuse those dolls with our dreams. And it was a miracle. We never thought that it wouldn't happen. My sister was my partner in creation. You know, we had our Barbie dolls. I had a ballerina doll. We had, we believed in all kinds of possibility as we were young. And she was my partner in play. Did I think that nothing good would ever happen? No. But think about this. If thoughts are capable of becoming things, then are our long lost dreams still inside of us? Think about that. Think about where things come from. Everything was a thought. This blouse was a thought. This microphone was a thought. The iPad was a thought. Books, stories were thoughts. Ideas for businesses were thoughts. The computer was a thought. A house was a thought that became a blueprint, that hired contractors, that became a house. How you decorated it was a thought. How you create your life is a thought. You are just a thought away from being anything you choose. Now, you might say, but wait a minute, my dream was to win the Olympics in gymnastics, and it never happened. But there are offshoots to those thoughts and those dreams that might still be relevant today. What if you're so good at gymnastics that you open your own studio? Or you mentor a young woman? Or you become a sports writer and you write about gymnastics? Or you open your own gym for all those young people who have a dream of winning a gold medal in the Olympics? What if you're the coach that helps a woman? What if you write a book about your story that gives so much power to the woman reading it that she believes it's possible for her to win the gold medal? Our thoughts comprise our future and the impact that we have on the world. And we can start with the impact that we have in our small community. But the internet has given us visibility beyond our wildest dreams. It is amazing. I think it was Sally who asked about the kind of visibility. I expanded on the visibility that I had with my first book. I have far more visibility with my fourth book, even though I got on all those TV shows. Why? Because the power of the internet. It has made our world smaller. We are all connected. We have potential to put our work out there to be seen. If thoughts become things, then your thoughts today have the very potential to become something great. Think about all the dreams you had in the past. What happened to your life script? I mean, I had a life script all figured out for me. 8 Fry, I hope you're going to come back and watch the first part of it. I'm glad you're here. What happened to your life script? You used to feel so brave, so strong, like all was possible. I remember my sister and I played army nurses. We used to pretend we were army nurses and that we could save lives. What happened to those dreams? Well, in my opinion, I am saving lives because I wrote a book called How to Survive the Worst That Can Happen. And it's a parent's step-by-step guide for healing after the loss of a child. So when I thought I was a little girl and I could save lives, it just took another form. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And I love these hearts because I know you're resonating with me in an energy that is really, really strong. When you were so brave and strong, and you were little, you were invincible, and your parents just told you how wonderful you were. And maybe some of you had bad childhood experiences. I hope not. My sister and I had really good childhood experiences. But we weren't unscathed. We had the experience of having to move 12 times in 12 years because my father was in the military. And that was scary. We all have things in our past. Yeah, we had each other. That's right. My sister said we had each other. We were each other's best friend. We were only 18 months apart. Some people don't have brothers and sisters. And so they have their imagination. I know my son Garrett, my beautiful boy that I lost when he was 16, but for the first 4 years of life, he was an only child. So he created all of this cast of characters, Steve and Bob, and he had all kinds of friends in his imagination. But I can tell you that when you have a partner like my sister, we had a fun childhood. There was never a time when we were lonely at home because we had each other. 8 Fry says, I was going to say that I think that what happens to dwindle the zeal, bad parents, yeah. I'm sad my son, I know, Sue had a miracle child. He was her only child, but he is a miracle child. And you know what? He is one of the smartest, healthiest, most talented kids I know. Because of my sister and her husband, he got through those teenage years, those life years, in an amazing way. He's a very talented musician. But that doesn't like the case for you. I missed it. Let me see if I can see it. Where did you put that? I was going to try and see that comment. 8 Fry, I'm sorry. So, and Brendan has a dream. My nephew has a dream of being a musician, and he's never veered from it. He plays every weekend practically. He is so amazing. He's been on videos, played with some of the greats. It was the power of his belief. The power of his belief. He was invincible. I can always retype. I said negative parenting doesn't seem to cause you to lose zeal. And you know what? There's that word, that Japanese word. Okay, I have to find that word for you, okay? Oh my gosh, what is that word? It's a Japanese word that means that very thing. Kiyoshi, I think. That means that when something bad happens, it brings in that zeal to be better in spite of it. I'm going to have to find that word for you tomorrow. I can't find it on my computer right now. But I wrote it in my book because I found that word so fascinating. It's the power of resilience. It's the thing that when you have a bad experience, it makes you want to be stronger and show them. I learned about it on the Chef's Table series on Netflix. And one of the chefs, and I think she was Japanese, and she said that when her guests come in and they don't like something that she's prepared, that the word kiyoshi, I think, makes her want to work harder and become more creative and inspires her to get better. So yes, 8 Fry, you're absolutely right. Sometimes bad parents can make you want to be a better parent. Isn't that the truth? Great. I'm glad you agree. So, beliefs, remember, are simply thoughts that we have over and over again until they become a belief. It's that simple. Sometimes they're true and sometimes they're not. Like if you believe that you are not attractive, then that's the story you've told yourself and you're living with. But if you dismiss that belief and say it's not serving you well, get rid of it. Everybody, every person has a beauty in their soul, in their spirit. God didn't create people who are not beautiful. Your soul, your spirit, your ability to shine, it's beautiful. And I can tell you truthfully, I know that from experience because my daughter was born with a birth defect that was so horrendous. Her surgeon said it was one of the worst clefts, external clefts that she had ever had to operate on. Her gum was twisted outside of her face. It was split clear up through her nostril. This nostril right here was not attached. It was split clear up through. And then on this side it was split halfway. But her gum twisted outside. She had teeth when they came in the roof of her mouth. The first surgery pushed the gum back into her mouth, but she didn't have the center part of her nose. Yes, she does shine now. Oh my gosh, she's positively beautiful. If you're on my Facebook, take a look. You won't believe what that surgeon did. But my daughter didn't have the center part of her nose. I forget what this is called, the center part. They had to make that. They had to create that from her own skin. So they took skin from the part that was outside of her face, turned it up inside of her nostrils to grow new skin and create that in another surgery. So I can tell you, Aldo, welcome. I can tell you that I know every soul is so beautiful. She was shining before she ever had her first surgery. I fell in love with her little face. That was incomplete. She had a sparkle in her eyes that was so miraculous. It is a miracle when you figure that out. Women are scrutinized in our country, or probably all over the world. And yet, I think it's time to get back to the inner beauty. You know, I love what Alicia Keys is doing. Alicia Keys stopped wearing makeup. She said, I'm going to be natural. And I swear she is one of the most beautiful women on the planet. Christy says, we choose to see the beauty in everyone. It's a choice. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Paolo, welcome. Paolo. That's the first name of one of my favorite authors. So, NW Consultoria, welcome. I hope you have a chance to go back and watch this conversation, because we're getting some great participation, and also the richness of what we're talking about is really resonating. So I hope that you have the opportunity to watch the first half of this in replay. Now, let's see, 8 Fry asked, what do you do with those negative beliefs? They live inside your mind. You know, it's that inner voice that says you're not good enough, you're not pretty, you're not successful, you're unlovable, you're too fat, you're not talented. Are they true? No. Thanks a lot. Have a great night. Wonderful. You have a great night. Are they true? Think about it. Where did they first arise? When did you first start thinking of yourself as not beautiful? I know exactly when I did. It was in 5th grade. And we had moved to a new school. And this little boy, another 5th grader, came running up to me. And it was my first day. I was scared to death. It was lunch hour. He came running up to me and spit in my face and said, I'd rather be dead than red. I'd rather be dead than red. I was devastated. I was wiping spit off of my face. I didn't want to cry. I just covered my eyes and I walked quickly. I think I ran. I think I sprinted to the bathroom. And I was like rubbing the spit off of my face with a brown paper towel. And those things are rough, I got to tell you. I think I shredded my face. But I wanted every part of that ugly comment off of my body. And I was terrified to go to school, to go back into the classroom. I went to the school nurse and I said I was sick to my stomach. I had to go home. Yeah, that's what it feels like. That was the first moment that I ever felt like I wasn't beautiful. And I know for any woman that tells herself that she's not beautiful, that allows that inner chatter inside of her, I know that there was a moment like that in your life where someone said something or you overheard it that flipped that switch. Being the new kid in school often brings dramatic changes to identity. It sure does, Judy. It sure does. So how do you get rid of it? Well, Sue says, I had a problem when I had to start wearing glasses. Oh, God, I remember that, Sue. I know. Remember, I wore glasses in kindergarten and 1st grade. Yeah, it's tough. Well, I can tell you how to get rid of it. And it's a technique that I use with all my writers and with my grief recovery clients. It's a life review. You dig into your timeline. Christy says she wore glasses and had buck teeth. Oh my gosh, so relatable. Wow, Christy. Every one of us has a moment in our lives that we had that feeling. Every one of us. If you look at your timeline, and this is what I do with my clients, if you look at your timeline, you start listing those moments in life that were iconic. And they can be good moments, like when you run the spelling bee in 6th grade, or, you graduated from high school. But then there are the tough times, like on my timeline, Ricky Gacious had no idea how he devastated a little girl in 5th grade who had red hair and freckles. He had no idea. But I did. And I discovered it on my timeline. And I had forgotten about it. Believe it or not, I'd forgotten about it because I used it to launch my life. It was when I had that feeling of I'll show him. I grew my red hair long and I started singing on stage and going around in this little group on the Monterey Peninsula singing for the, clubs and senior homes and stuff. And then all of a sudden, I got to fly to New York and audition at 16 to join the national cast of a show. Judy says she won in 5th, but my teacher was so disappointed her pets didn't win. Well, the power of your brilliance, you won. All teachers have pets. It just happens. I think they try. But all teachers have pets. All people have favorite people. It's hard, but it's true. But what if looking at that thing causes you to shift your perception and launch you into an I'll show them attitude? It was so much easier to believe in ourselves when we were young. And a lot of times we had like this great support system, like I was talking about with my sister. And if you watch the show, The Master Chef, have you ever watched Master Chef? And you watch the adults, the Master Chef edition with adults. They're backbiting, they're competitive, they say mean things about people, even the way they look. The young version, the kid version of Master Chef is a whole different ballgame. You watch these kids support each other. They say things like, you can do it, don't give up. Or here, I'll help you. Or here's tongs, I know you lost yours, but here are mine. Do you need an ingredient? I'll share it. When someone gets cut for the week, they all cry. A support system is wonderful, Judy says. Yes. So where does that support system go when we become adults? We have to create it. We have to start looking at the people that support us and make us feel strong and good and happy. And we need to take a step back from the people that make us feel bad about ourselves. And I've said before, when you take a step back from somebody, you don't need to draw a line in the sand and say, you know what, I'm never going to talk to you again, and so don't call me. You don't need to do those kinds of things in life. Christy says, and let go of those who simply tolerate us. Exactly. It does you no good. It does you no good. It divides your energy, having to support friends that are not supportive. Because of life, we are capable of fulfilling our dreams even if we've had bad experiences. If we look at those things on our timeline and change the way we look at them, what you put up with is what you end up with. Yeah. Change the way you look at them. Give them a new perception. I don't unfriend, just don't follow. You know what? That's what I've been doing. That's great, Sue. Yeah, you don't need to take a step back in a big way. You just need to gently and start learning to say no. And you don't have to give excuses. You can say, gosh, I really can't make that event, but I hope it's great for you. Thank you for inviting me. That's all. You don't need to say, oh, because I have a doctor's appointment, or make up some excuse. Once you're aware of these things, you can never be unaware. Once you're aware of every time you call yourself ugly or not attractive or unlovable, then every time you say that to yourself, suddenly you're aware that, oh, that's that little voice inside. You'll never be unaware. Call it out. Call it out in a very big way in your head and stop it. Discharge it. I don't need you. I don't need that thought. Go away. You are undermining what I just said, Judy. Call it out. I don't need this ugly thought taking up residence in my head anymore. I invite the light and the goodness of my faith and my Lord to take, if you believe in God, I don't know if you do, to take all of the goodness in. Send it away. You can make choices in life. You can make choices to eat a big bowl of pasta with cream and cheese, or a big bowl of pasta with lots of vegetables. If you can make a choice like that in your head, then you can make a choice of saying, I'm going to treat myself beautifully, or I'm going to treat myself ugly. You can use that awareness to start rebuilding a life that works for you. So here, I promised you some techniques to start creating a wonderful life for yourself, doing the things that make you happy, making your life come alive, creating lasting impact, doing the things that you love. Number one, and this is what my coach did for me when I was in crisis, late 2009, early 2010, I said, Bob, I need help. I don't know what I'm meant to be doing. I'm so scattered. I feel like nothing, my children, my last two children are leaving home for college, and suddenly it's just me. And I don't know what to do. He said, Sandy, you're in transition. Write a list of all the things you've accomplished in your life. And from that list, you read that list every day, and you'll start noticing that you've made a difference in people's lives. A perfect example, my book, Rosie the Imperfect Angel. I know it changed many lives. I can look at Michael Alden on Broadway today, and he said that book changed his life. He knew he wanted to be great and had the potential. So what did he do? He became a musician who then transitioned into producing Broadway shows. I mean, he produced Americans in Paris, Porgy and Bess. I mean, these are the kinds of things that our negative feelings, if we release them, can give birth to the I'll show you attitude. Discharge those negative beliefs. And somebody just came on this broadcast. I'm sorry I missed your name, but welcome. Make a list of all the things that you've done in your life that feel like an accomplishment. For me, it was every one of my books. All four of Aileen, welcome. It was all four of my books that made me feel like I'd accomplished something. It was, of course, my children. I was able to get them through the darkest hour of their lives. We lost their brother and their father. And yet I was able to raise them on my own, get through the darkest economic time that my generation has known. And they're incredible kids. Incredible. You think I was scared financially? You bet. But I kept having to think of what it says in the Bible. Do you think the bird worries about where he's going to get his food? He just keeps flying. We've all made incredible accomplishments. Yes, whatever it is, we've made incredible accomplishments. Start naming them. Start naming them. Judy, after this broadcast, you sit down and you start naming your accomplishments. When you do that, you'll recognize that that can be a source of inspiration to continue and carry you into the next decades of your life. You'll feel a sense of having mattered. Isn't that what life is all about? We want to have lasting impact. We want to know that something we've done has lasting impact. And I promise you, if you use your timeline, you'll find it. Another step is that when you find your why, when you go through your list of things and you say, that's why. You know, I can name a list of things that one thing led to another, led to another, led to another. I think my whole life I was meant to write this book and others. That's why I was married for 26 years to a professional writer for television and film. I learned the skills of writing. It was my daughter's birth that finally pulled me out from the shadows. I participated in David's writing every single day of our married life, and yet I was afraid to write on my own. Suddenly, when my daughter was born, my need to write was greater than my fear, and I wrote my first book. And one book led to another, led to another. I believe that when I was on stage, when I traveled the world in this show, that it helped me become more comfortable speaking in front of people. I believe that when I took acting classes for 5 or 6 years, that it helped me create characters for David and in his work. It helped me help him bring his characters to life. I believe that it also made me very comfortable on stage. I believe that I learned a lot about structure of plays and stories and films. I believe that my daughter's birth taught me that life isn't perfect, that there is incredible beauty in the imperfect, incredible lessons to be learned. I discovered that I had more resilience than I thought possible. When my son died, I thought there would never be another day that I could feel joy. But I discovered my own resilience, and now I help other people find it. When you discover your why, you'll know it. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jessica. Yeah. They say you never know how strong you're until... Yes, you're so right. Once you discover your why, I promise you, you'll know it, because the emotion will be so strong. You'll feel a pool up inside of you, and you'll want to cry. One of my blogs I titled, "Your Why Will Make You Cry." That's how I felt when I finally figured it out, when I did my timeline exercise. And I suddenly realized that's what I was meant to do all along, was write a book. And I started writing this book, my 4th book. You know, the importance of writing about it is one of the tools that I use, whether you're working with me on a life level or a writing level. And I love coaching both situations, because many of you aren't writers, but you want to go to the next level in your life. But writing is a consistent tool in a journal like this. It's a consistent tool used in healing and used in awareness and awakening. It's a resource for all of your thoughts and other people's thoughts. You can write those down too. If you're thinking that you'd like to take your work a step further and you want to start writing, well, I'm starting my Emerging Writer Mastermind. And guess what? I have writers on this broadcast who now have a book because of my mastermind. And I'm so proud of them. You might be wondering if it's right for you. Sue says, I know your book will give comfort to a friend of mine whose grandchild died of SIDS. Oh, God. That's just so painful. Loss is so hard. Thanks, Sue. Yeah. I know that my book has made an impact. And you have that potential too, because there's something inside of you that will make a difference in somebody else's life. And you will have lasting impact. Think about what that is. Start writing that list that I told you tonight of all the things that you've done in your life that may have affected someone else. And you will discover your why. I promise. Well, I'm going to have to leave you now because I've got Christy starting in about 15 minutes, and I'm so excited. She's part of my mastermind. If you're interested in going a little further with your writing, and you want to write a book or a blog or be writing articles or even just wanting to further your journaling efforts, my live stream, my mastermind is bit.ly Emerging Writer Mastermind. Check it out. And if you want to talk to the graduates of this program, you can, because they have books and their books are getting noticed. And, you know, it's a pretty remarkable thing. Sometimes we just need people to hold us accountable, people that have the tools. And that's what I love, sharing my tools and techniques for all of the writing that I do. And I know that if that's a desire for you, check it out. Yes. All right, my friends, I'm so glad that you joined me today. Remember, I want to just read you this wonderful quote that I found, one of my favorite poets, Maya Angelou. She said, "There is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you." Isn't that beautiful? It's time to tell your story. And that story can be an expression of who you are and put it out there in the world. Like Jamie, she does it through jewelry. Other people do it through art. Other people do it through books. I'm so excited to have been here today, and I'll be back tomorrow at 5 o'clock. If you're not following me, please follow me and at Sandy Peckinpah, and I will be back with you tomorrow at 5 o'clock. All right, take care.